We've partnered with Bethesda Game Studios to build a filming model of the Frontier ship from their upcoming game, Starfield. I couldn't be more excited for this project. It's a celebration of the exact kind of practical effects filmmaking I'm obsessed with and that we all love. Follow along over the coming weeks as the tested team and I embark on a scale miniature build that combines the latest fabrication technologies with my favorite old school model making techniques. Let's dive in. I got it in the garbage can! So I've got all 360 degrees of an enclosed cockpit to build. But if I build it, you won't be able to see inside of it. So I'm doing it as a cutaway, which is one of my favorite model forms. And right now I am cutting some of the floor here so that I may continue the floor forward. I like a cutaway, but I also like a cutaway to draw me into a space, and half of the floor isn't enough. So I'm completing the floor, bringing it out this way, and when I get the front part there, I'll complete that, and that should give me a nice surround and let you feel like it's a real environment. This is some thick pieces of resin I'm cutting into, though. In a model like this, to me, the front detail is really important. It can't be wonky. So I may chuck this into my mill and just do some cleanup on this. Yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
Piece.
Oh, nice!
It might be a little tacky in places, but I think you're pretty good to go.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I'm cutting it out. I'm cutting it to shreds.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Great. That's fine because you won't be together once I'm done with you. So this comes, we'll cut this. We'll do this. Well, I am almost, there's my cutaway. I initially drew this beam too thick. It hides too much. I've brought it much thinner. I'm really pleased with that. You'll be able to see through this whole thing. It feels like an environment. I gotta fix that transition just a little bit, but not too much. When this model is fully painted, the outside will be a neutral dark gray. The cut line will be bright red, like any given cutaway, and then the inside will be fully detailed. I now need, but this thing is heavy. 15 pounds, 12 pounds, it's real. Yeah, I think it's actually probably 10 or 12 pounds. I need to mount it on something so I can hold it up about here. Lovely. See that? Yeah, let's- Okay, parts. Dude, cockpit parts.
Yes.
Okay, but we're not talking about parts, we're talking about lighting parts. Mel, where are we at with electronics?
Okay, so I was looking into at the interior video walkthrough, and it looks like we have like a bunch of different segments of the interior cockpit that we can use for lighting. So I've matched them up with the CAD file and worked with Daryl on like sort of setting placement holds on the different areas. So here you can see where we've decided to sort of predeterminedly place the lights.
So you've pre-modeled so that you can slip in LEDs in here and get diffused light instruments out of that?
Yeah, this is
That's
the hope
brilliant.
and dream. So
That is super cool. I love that you have been thinking about it since before this was even fully modeled.
yes. And
That is
so
fantastic.
we're hoping to use micro LEDs for this.
Oh, I love these! Oh my God, these are like the 3-volt ones, right?
Yes.
So I just ordered a complete set in every color I could find.
What? Awesome.
Here is the 3-volt yellows and the blues. And these guys are coming from Amazon with proper resistors for every voltage, 3, 5, 6, 9, 12, 24.
Nice.
So yeah, I love these things.
Yeah, they're great. They seem very portable. We can put them everywhere, like
Yep.
all over the cockpit. So very
Oh, right, I
excited
see
about
you've got
that.
One there. Oh man. Okay, and so these are we're going to have multiple power systems in there, or multiple distros of some voltages.
Yeah, so like we're running off of basically 12 volts coming in, and then it'll be tapered down to being around, say, like 9-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And so and that is just so we can actually control the brightness. So
Right,
we'll
right.
have abilities to like lower the brightness or raise it depending for the interior. There's an entirely separate idea for the circuit for the exterior just because we have thrusters and we want to do some cool thruster animation and stuff like that. And so
Building like pulsing light animation into the circuit.
Exactly. Because it's a spaceship. We should have some cool animations for it.
Totally.
So yeah, these are the side thrusters. I was thinking about using these sort of high-powered 1 watt.
spotlights?
These little spotlights. They're great because they have like this nice dome on the top that gives it a sort of a wider spread.
So I've got here a smoke machine.
Oh, sick.
So you can see how the columnar light out of that looks in smoke, because I think that's how we might get some engine carrier, like some carried engine look in the on set.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
So you can borrow that.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Smokes.
What other lights are you guys working on here?
Yeah, so we have the various colors. So the warm light would be for the side thrusters, and so for them to shoot down. We also have like this sort of kind of almost yellowish orange, which is I'm going to be using a more yellow tone LED.
Okay.
And then the hull itself is got this nice like red.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have like some ambient glowing red lights
Nice.
for it. Yeah.
This is awesome. Do you have any plans for lighting the screens? Are we going to put like a diffusion behind there?
I believe that's the plan. So ideally it could be something like these guys, if we can fit them. These are like tiny TVs.
Actual screens?
It would be really cool. It would be really cool. I'm hoping we can. We have to sort of determine if the screens are large enough to make this work. But
How many of those do we have?
We have 2 of them, and they would be ideal for like possibly the side. There's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
2 side monitors, and they're kind of cute because you just turn them on,
No
and
way
I
that
already have
actually
like
works.
a little tiny display.
Mel,
Yeah, it'd be cute.
holy cow. This is like what I dreamed about when I was 11, 12 years old making models. One thing I'm curious about is have you actually written out a wiring diagram?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I'm starting to like compile. It's going to be a ton of LEDs
Yeah.
and different sections of it, and so I've been sort of categorizing and like starting to design the actual circuit for both of these. So this will be a little bit more simplified,
This
seeing
is a
that
cockpit.
we don't need like say a microcontroller for this. It'll be
Right,
just
right.
standard lights. This will have like a microcontroller and a whole elaborate switching system. Heard from the Valley that we're doing some cool stuff with motion control, and so it'd be really awesome to have the robot potentially trigger the thrusters.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm gonna try to incorporate both a manual option as well as something for the robot to control for our shoot.
So have you done your experimentation with the columnar light and engine looks and stuff like that yet?
Yes, I've done a little bit. I'm just playing around with. Basically, Sean has given me some of the 3D prints for me to like just see how it would shine. I think adding the smoke would be really useful.
I think the smoke is useful for its carried profile. I would play around too with some weird diffusers. Like I may have some mottled acrylic for like shower glass of different kinds in there. It's worth it to play with that because sometimes when you get those, like even like crumpled up cellophane can sometimes give you some random artifacts that make these look less regular to each other.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right?
Okay.
That's something I would consider playing with. One of my favorite things is writing out a wiring diagram, and then when it's time to wire, I stop thinking and I just follow the diagram, and then when that works, it's awesome.
Oh yeah, totally. That's just like your Zen payoff moment.
Right, because you're
there.
just like A to B, B to C, C to D, and then it works. That only happens about half the time for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I kind of am the same percentage.
What part here are you most excited about?
Honestly, I just love how elaborate the system is. I really love the idea of playing with animations for the thrusters. Like that's going to just be fun to code.
You're psyched about the complexity.
A little bit.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So we need a couple more parts of the cockpit to determine whether or not we're going to be able to use those screens. I think that's the next thing I'd like to play around with.
Yes.
And then once we get this mounted up, we can start to route. Or have you done routing, figuring out about where the lights go in here, where the wiring goes?
Not entirely. I've figured out that we can basically just where they're placed, and I think it's sort of how we're going to creatively either snake them through and out.
Oh, so that we might actually see the wiring as a practical thing.
Yes.
Oh, fabulous. Okay, cool. Yeah, certainly this is big enough scale that this 30 gauge wire is going to look totally real.
Yeah.
For the cutaway cockpit, the wiring routing is pretty straightforward because I can hide a lot of crimes. But for the big ship, how are you planning on hiding the electronics?
Oh, I see. So the circuit would ideally fit in this sort of cavernous space that we have for the ship.
Nice.
I think we can get away with a good amount of the circuit being here, and then I think the rest of it will be just cabling that we were snaking through to this central spot.
So this will be the brain of the ship. All the
Yes.
wiring will come back to here, the circuits that power the engines and their animations and all that.
Exactly. Ideally, that would be the case.
This is lovely to have such a big hollow
I know.
expanse.
We might actually have a good amount of room.
That is fabulous. We're into the scratch building part.
Yes.
It's just to be clear for the audience, there's so much being digitally printed here, but there are still some elements that are going to make more sense for us to scratch build. And that, in this case, is this ramp with all this fine railing.
Oh yes, but actually one of the great things about having the digital model is that we can then use that to our advantage for the scratch build. So we can take that and get the parts we need from it.
So these are one-to-one elevations of the various pieces on the side. Okay, so there's a couple of elements going on here. There's some laser cut pieces of acrylic or styrene. There's a debate about what the hell this is. And then there's some wire bending, yes?
Yes. Basically all of the handrails that are happening up there. We have a side view here to showcase some of the shapes of that.
That's the actual size?
Yeah, and that's 1-to-1.
Oh.
It's little.
So the thing I had here, we were talking earlier, a couple weeks ago when we were talking about this, we were talking about doing it in brass, which I have this styrene, which I really like. This is styrene with wire in it, so you can bend it and also glue it. Yeah, I can't believe you didn't know about this stuff.
This is a game changer for me.
However, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking we need 2 of these, right? I'm thinking brass might still make more sense, specifically because I need it to be structural to itself.
Right.
So I was going to start on that, and we also have some really fine scale stuff going on here with masks.
Yes, so you can see a little bit of the tread pattern on the ramp itself.
Yeah.
This was that vector file Cricut cutout with vinyl, and then this was me weeding it. So that we have our positive. There was debate. Do we do a stencil and paint on there, or do we let this be the positive?
This should be the positive. That's easier.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're going to use transfer paper on this?
Yes.
Great. God, the Cricut's resolution is...
Isn't it?
It's kind of amazing.
I love it.
I forget how good it is at making resists. So do you want to... So then that requires priming this, right?
Yes. Basically,
Okay.
I think this should go on after the painting has happened on this bottom one. I'll add this, and then we can do a weather pass.
Okay. And then if we're doing... There's some plastic parts that stick onto this. We'll probably put those on before we put this on too.
Probably. Although
Or
they're
we
a different
scrape to
color.
glue-
They're
Oh,
a
it's
different color, right?
Okay.
They're yellow. So I could just get this one painted up.
Scrape and glue it and then paint the transition.
Yeah.
That probably makes more sense. Okay, do you want to start doing that while
Yes.
I'll use these one-to-ones to make a pair of these railings. And it's all coming out of
There.
that.
Yes.
I keep thinking that's the bottom, it's not. So it's that. That's what we're talking about here. Oh, dude, this is going to be gorgeous.
It is. And we have these kind of struts that are going to come down here and be supports, but we'll wait until it's in place so we can cut it directly to length, because there will be metal going in between the pieces here.
Terrific. I've got plenty of metal to make those pistons. You know what I mean? All right.
Should I just go ahead and prime all of these parts?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is great. All right. Okay, so I'm going to do a bend there. These two. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. I love this kind of miniature work. Okay, I think I'm going to do a little bit more. So when people wonder what actual model making is like as a living, it's this. It's 2 people working side by side super quietly on tiny shit. And every now and then, you'll share crazy stories from your past. Is that about right?
100%.
The really nice thing about it is you're in a room with other people, so when you really bone something, you've got a lot of people to commiserate with. Like, because no one's going to give you a lot of, like, it's not a, model making isn't a profession where everyone's like, you idiot. It's more like, oh, dude, I've been there. Thank God I'm not you today.
Yep.
So because I've got here a main railing piece, this part that goes slant across and then right angle down, I want to make that the main strut, and I want to do it out of this square stock that I have. And I can't just make an angle cut and then butt weld it. That's not going to work. So what I've done is I've made slices, strategic slices that will allow me to make these bends, but I'm not cutting all the way through the material. I'm still using its own material cohesion. Then I'm going to solder into those joints, and that should give me some nice structure on these. Making something this small, your odds of harming it are high, even as you're building it. So I'm just trying to make it kind of structurally sound. But now I've made my little slot, and so now I'm going to make this bend, and I hope I can make a right angle bend here. Here we go. Oh, I did it. Oh my God. Theory and practice. That is great. Oh, Deuteronomy. I'm so happy about that. That's great. Okay, cool. Got that. I'm just going to take care of that joint right now, because if I undid this and then rebent it, it would immediately snap itself. That's just a reality. Oh, that's perfect. That's a nice, strong 90-degree joint. Great. And then this puppy will come up. Yeah, that is close enough. Okay. So that's going to come up from here and bend down. Yep. Now I'm going to slice this there. We're going to bring it up a little farther. I'm really digging these flush cutters.
I think this is probably wide enough, right?
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's gonna look awesome.
Right, as the paint.
Yep.
I'm going to glue these on, and then this will all be nice and stable. And then the yellow will glue to the outside of it.
That's cool. I love it.
All right, come on. Last bits. Okay, so now I'm going to take these 2 screws out that were in here.
Yep. I'm just gonna kind of guess here where my starting is.
I love that Tamiya primer. That help or?
Oh, that helps. Thank you.
Yeah.
Does that look right?
All the other
Kinda.
crimes can hide.
Guessing. Then at one point you just have to commit. Whew!
Yep. No, I'm right there with
Jump
you.
in the pool.
I'm so exactly like that. There's no more worrying I can do.
So now I get the reverse of what you did, and I get to slowly peel. Although the vinyl sticks better than this one did, so.
Oh, neato.
Oh, it's a little funky. Oh well.
That's fine.
I won't tell anyone.
No one's going to notice. So, all right, I'm putting the screws back in the bottom. Dude, that's awesome. Sometimes when you're holding the smallest thing and you're like, this is like, it feels like I'm clamping something between my knees. Right?
Yeah.
Because my fingers are so giant. That's all. Oh, and these can go in, can't they?
Yeah.
They're dry.
Yeah.
The CO2 from your breath helps kick the CA glue.
Does it?
It does.
I mean, I've definitely blown on it. I just didn't know if it was legitimately
Yeah.
helping.
No, it's totally legit. All right. Oh my God, thin crazy glue is so terrifying. So the reason I'm saying that thin CA glue is terrifying is because it's so thin, it can run almost under any circumstances. And if you touch it wrong, I'm holding this wrong, so I have to rejigger my hold. And so if you touch it wrong, it'll stick to you and to everything else in the world. And then it won't let go. It's, yeah. But under certain circumstances, there is nothing that will get you where you want to go faster. I love thin CA glue. I hate thin CA glue. Both are true. Woo-wee! Dude, that is fun.
It's gorgeous.
That is just like, I mean, all the design work that Sean's been doing, wrapping his head around this ridiculous thing, that's really fun. That's gonna look nice. No. Come on.
Something like that.
You come up in there. Look at that. That's great. Okay. Come on. Come on. Okay, great. Yeah, this is how we're doing this. We're just gonna. So I pulled out 3 brushes for this weathering. A small one for actually attaching, putting in the paint. But there's always a reason to save your sort of big, crappy brushes that get caked with a lot of stuff, because they're really great for sort of randomly moving weathering around. And I'm using it right now to get me some nice oily business up here where this thing is leaving the ship. And it just allows me to kind of go in and sort of sculpt the light of the weathering. Oh, I'm really happy with how this is going. But so yeah, when you end up with a brush like this and you didn't fully clean, keep it. The actual shittiness of that, the actual crappiness of that is to your advantage. All right, we're gonna get in here, do that. All right, there'll be a final pass over there. So I'm gonna move on to the other side. I'm happy with that. Come on back, come on back. Oh, did you all fall apart? You did, that's fine. All right, the first weathering pass is mostly complete. I'm going to, because I never do a single color pass for weathering, I'm adding in a little dark, like a burnt umber kind of wash. And this is all still, in the close-ups you're seeing of this, in the B-roll, it may look slightly incomplete, and that's because it is. We won't do the final weathering pass until the whole ship is assembled. But for right now, this gets us 90% of the way. And this is just me adding in some just like brown spots, which adds a little bit of warmth. Oh, that's great. I mean, even that just, it does so much. Awesome. I declare the weathering pass complete for now. And the ramp is ready for when it's time to assemble it onto the ship. This is, Joey was asking me off camera, does this like wake up old parts of my brain? And maybe I've already said it in this video, but yes, it wakes up these delightful old parts of my brain where I spent years doing this kind of work. And like my friends at the time would say, when I described my job, I would say, tomorrow I get to, not tomorrow I have to, tomorrow I get to. That's still what I say. But yeah, it was great back then. Kate, come and look.
Oh my God, Adam, it's perfect.
So much fun.
All right, so what was your wash? What'd you do?
I'm addicted to this Vallejo.
Oh.
These Vallejos, and
Yeah.
then I did a final wash of dark brown.
Oh, cool. And do you have to mix them with anything, or they're
No,
already liquid?
I literally. So I sit here with a thick brush and a thin brush, and I put the paint on with the thick, and I move it around put a paint on with the thin, move it around with the thick.
I like that technique because usually when I do it, I have like a thick brush and then like a paper towel or a rag.
Yeah.
But I like going between the two sizes.
I'm literally sitting here kind of like this,
Ooh.
doing this, and it allows me to kind of like, we'll add some silver kicks once we're finally doing this. We'll add a couple of yellow bits in here and there,
Very cool.
All right, Mel, tell me where we are with the lighting.
Okay, so let's just plug this sucker in. Basically, there's a couple things to this circuit. Right now, I'm just showcasing the cargo hull as well as the ideal light for the cockpit, this cool white.
That's a nice white.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's pretty bright. I'm super happy with how bright they are.
It's crazy bright. People don't realize how dim LEDs used to be.
We're so spoiled now. Everything's just burning our retinas.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is a couple other components. So I have, these are the thrusters. These are LEDs for the thrusters. So I have manual triggers as well as these really nice leads that take on for the 24 volts for the robot controller. Mm-hmm. But just to showcase the LEDs and the sort of the animation.
So this can be controlled by the robot arm?
Yes.
I see.
So we have these manual ones, and then we also have the controller coming in for the 24.
And you've written a real Blinky program for that.
Yes.
Dude.
Blinky lights. These are the side ones. It's for
Now,
demo.
can you take that animation and slow it down to kind of any frame rate you want?
Yeah, we can play around with the frame rate of it.
Actually, on Galaxy Quest, the nacelles of the Thermian ship, they had a glow pulse to them, and Grant Imahara designed a circuit where the animation moved across like 10 different lights.
Oh,
and he was
wow.
able to make each one a frame so that on the motion control stage, it would be like frame 13, and you turn it to,
Wow.
It was brand new technology for us way back then. I mean, it's amazing just how easy it is to do now.
Yeah.
Like he had to have a custom circuit board made because there was no Arduino or Raspberry Pi back then. Are these just little step-down power bucks and stuff?
No, these are MOSFET switches. So
Okay.
this is basically so that I can power the LEDs externally and not drain from the board. Because of how bright these LEDs are, they
Yeah.
do pull a good amount of amperage, and it's just not sufficient for the microcontroller to control them, to power them. We just have a 5-volt line going directly in, and the microcontroller is now just triggering a switch to turn them on and off to cause this flickering animation or to keep these LEDs on.
They're solid-state relays.
Yes.
Right. Awesome. Oh, the lights, these are for the thrusters, right?
Yes.
Thrusters and engines.
Yes.
Okay, I want to play around with the smoke.
Ooh.
Right, let's give it some. Oh, excellent. All right, so let's see how columnar they are here. It's sort of, oh, okay. It's really like, so yeah, it's not shooting out like a column. Yeah, they're not beam-like. It's the one issue I'm worried about. Oh, actually, it's hard to smoke up the place that's not smoked. But if I get a bunch of smoke going on, and this is going to make our motion control shot like potentially nightmarish. But like, I am starting to get a little bit of. Dude, I love how bright these are, and these are tunable to the frame, right?
Yeah. So I basically set it up with the microcontroller so that we can control the brightness.
Fantastic. And you've got, am I right? I'm looking at 3, and there'll be 3 per thruster and 3 lights per engine.
Yeah. So for this, so for the back engines, there'd be 6 in total of these LEDs, and then this will be about 12 for
Gotcha.
each thruster, which is about 4.
Now, there might be a chance that as we're trying one of these shots, we might want to add like a couple of more like blinky lights to the outside. How hard is that to do in the field?
It's quite modular, so I have at least prepped some micro LEDs and other LEDs for, like, say, the side panels for these, like, sort of auxiliary lights, and so we can add it to this particular circuit here.
You can just drill a little hole and pop it through.
Yes.
Dude, how awesome are these connectors?
They're pretty rad.
There's like 4 or 5 different versions. I've got them all, and they've changed my life.
They're just so nice, and you can just, like, clamp things in. It's really great for prototyping.
Yeah.
Really great.
I can't wait to see this thing lit.
Awesome.
Follow along in the coming weeks as the tested team and I continue our work on these models, scratch building, lighting, painting, detailing, and prepping these miniatures for filming. Thanks to Bethesda Game Studios for partnering with us on this project and inviting us to play in their new universe. Starfield launches on Xbox Series X, S, PC, and Game Pass on September 6, 2023, and is rated M for mature. You can find details below or visit www.starfieldgame.com to learn more.